This is a unit about poetry. This is just one of the many lessons to teach students about what goes into the process for creating poetry, what kind of language poets consider whenever they're thinking about what they want to include in their poem. And then since it's Halloween, we do have a warm-up that has to do with a Halloween poem. And in my actual classroom, this would have already been on the students' desks. So now we begin as usual. Good morning, students. As you can see on your desk, there is a warm-up, but before we begin, I just want to say happy Halloween, and I want to give everyone like a minute or two just to kind of talk about, do you guys have any interesting plans? What are you planning on being for Halloween?
I'm going to an epic party tonight. I'm so excited. We have some friends that have Empire. I think it's Empire style. Anyway, it's a beautiful, gigantic mansion that's in downtown, and this party's epic. It's like 300 people.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Hope you're safe.
Is this real life or is this?
And that's real. That's real.
Yeah, also I'd be like, I'm trick-or-treating.
It's awesome. No, these two guys, they one is an architect and one is an interior designer, and so their house is like,
Sounds like a lot of fun. And I heard you were going to be Marge Simpson. Is
That's
that
right, Marge
Simpson.
and my husband's going to be Bart.
Bart. That sounds very nice. Anyone else want to share what they're going to be for Halloween?
I might be Frida Kahlo.
Okay. Very nice.
Do you have the eyebrow?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to.
Okay.
Depends on the place.
Well, I hope whatever you guys do, whatever you decide to dress up as, that you guys have a safe and fun, relaxing Halloween with lots of candy. Make sure to check it first. So, typically, whenever you guys come in, you know, the drill, sit down, do your homework, or do your warm-up, not your homework. But today it's going to be a little different. We're going to work on this warm-up together. So, if I can have one volunteer read this poem out loud. I know there are some blanks, but just kind of read over them. Yes, sir.
On that cold October night, the streets filled with darkness, making it hard to see the many creatures lurking and creating fright. The through the town. It was as if there were I was scared, but I marched towards them with my head held high. I grabbed a plastic sword that someone must have dropped while running away. The sword, I fought with all my might and destroyed the monsters. They made a as they disappeared into thin air. Along the way home, abandoned candy bags littered the streets. I picked them up one by one and enjoyed a feast in my monster-free town. All thanks to me.
Very great, Sarah. Thank you for reading that out loud. Okay, so as you can see, there are some blanks that need to be filled in, and there is specific things that I want you guys to use while trying to decide what to fill in. We're going to do this as a class just so we can kind of work on it together because this is new material, and it's supposed to be fun, not stressful. So, for the first blank, on that cold October night, the streets filled with darkness, making it hard to see the many creatures lurking and creating fright. The blank, and right here we're going to use a noun describing the creature. So this could be like the name of a creature. What do you guys want the creature in the story to be?
Buffalo.
Zombie.
Oh, zombie's better.
Zombie. Everyone agree with zombie?
How about the zombie buffalo?
Zombie.
Yes. Okay, let's just stick with zombie for now. Okay, so the zombie, awesome. Love zombie stories. Okay, so the zombie blank. The next blank has to be a verb that starts with the same letter as the creature. Zip. Sounds very nice. Okay, so the zombie zip. And then as we're going along, you guys are already doing this, but just to fill it in on your own sheet as well. Okay, so the zombie zipped through the town. Very nice, I love it. It was as if they were blank. Here you're going to insert a comparison using like or as. So, for an example, they were as bright as a star. Something like that. So, can anyone think of one? It could be anything.
As hungry as wolves.
As Hungry as wolves. I love it. Alright, we got some very dangerous zombies going on in this poem right now. So it was as if they were as hungry as wolves. I was scared, but I marched towards them with my head held high. I grabbed a plastic sword that someone must have dropped while running away. The sword, blank. And this blank, we want to give the sword a human quality. So what can the sword do that swords don't normally do, but humans could do this?
Sword ran.
The sword ran? Okay. So you want to say like, the sword,
I was gonna say the same.
like the sword ran with me to the monster?
Okay.
Or ran beside me to the monster? Very nice, Sarah. I fought with all my might and destroyed the monsters. They made a blank. So here you need to insert a word that makes the same sound as it is pronounced. A good example for this is like bark. So a dog barks. Bark sounds just like, you know, what the dog's doing. So it can be anything. No wrong answers. Think of what kind of noise a zombie would make when they're dying.
They made a
The groan.
The
groan.
groan.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. And I'll put the extra O's in there for emphasis. Okay. So as they made a groan, as they disappeared into thin air, along the way home, abandoned candy bags littered the streets. I picked them up one by one and enjoyed a feast in my monster-free town, all thanks to me. I feel like that's a very nice reward for defeating all the monsters. So, would anyone like to read this completed poem all the way through, besides Sarah, since she already read it? Okay, thank you, Austin.
On that cold October night, the streets filled with darkness, making it hard to see the many creatures lurking and creating fright. The zombies zipped through the town. It was as if they were as hungry as wolves. I was scared, but I marched towards them with my head held high. I grabbed a plastic sword that someone must have dropped while running away. The sword ran beside me to the monsters. I fought with all my might and destroyed the monsters. They made a groan as they disappeared into thin air. Along the way, abandoned candy bags littered the streets. I picked them up one by one and enjoyed a feast in my monster-free town, all thanks to me.
Very nice, Austin. All right, so that was wonderful. I would totally publish this. Great holiday poem. Great job, guys. So, based on this warm-up, what do you guys think we're going to learn about today? Based on the blanks that you had to fill in, is there something that this reminds you of?
Well, there's like onomatopoeia and similes.
And alliteration with zombies in.
Very nice. All right. Okay, so what do all those things have in common? What are they ultimately? Like, what's the umbrella term for alliteration, onomatopoeia?
Figures of language.
Figurative language. Exactly. Thank you, Alex. So, for today, and it's okay if you guys didn't recognize all of these things because that's what we're going to learn about today. We are going to learn how to recognize figurative language in a poem. We're going to learn what figurative language is and why it's used. And then ultimately, you guys are going to create your own poem using figurative language without the fill in the blanks to guide you. So, can anyone tell me why figurative language is used?
It's interesting.
Yes.
To create a certain feeling.
Yes.
Or like like description too.
Mhm.
Along with the feeling.
Right. So, if we didn't have this figurative language in our warm-up, how would you feel about the poem? What do you think that the blanks that we created added to? So like if we didn't say that the zombie zipped through the town, we just said the zombie walked through the town.
It wouldn't have the same rhythm.
Right, same rhythm, would it have the same effect, right? And then also, if we didn't have that comparison that they were as hungry as wolves and we just said that they were hungry, like, does that really describe how hungry the zombies are? No, right. So, having figurative language just adds description, and it allows the reader to imagine what the author is trying to say in a more efficient way. And it's also very creative, and you guys will learn how to do that as well. So, next we are going to actually learn about what figurative language is in a PowerPoint. I am providing you your own copy of the PowerPoint so that you don't have to focus on trying to take notes or things like that, and you can just focus on learning. Sorry, I should just I didn't know you were going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to end my lesson there and tell you guys about the rest of my plan. For the rest of my lesson plan, we would have went over the PowerPoint slide, but for sake of time, we don't have time to go through all 10 slides and learn about all of the different forms of figurative language. So, we started with the warm-up, and then we would have went on to the PowerPoint on figurative language. And then our ultimate goal, or our main material for this lesson, is The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. And Edgar Allan Poe is like a great example of what to use, or how poets use figurative language to create imagery and things like that. So we would do a popcorn reading of The Raven, and then that would lead into a group activity where students would be in groups already from my class layout, 4 or 5, and then they would work together to find examples of figurative language. Just so that everyone doesn't find the same examples, they would be assigned different parts, especially because the poem is very long. So like one person may have the first page, or one group may have the first page. And then after that, they would make a poster to present in class the next day. For homework, they will have to write their own poem using figurative language. They have to have 5 examples using their PowerPoint slide, and it's not graded on creativity, but more so that they know how to use figurative language correctly. So they know what a metaphor is, they know what a simile is, things like that. And then their exit slip is to